What's up, guys? 3.7 here, bringing you another 3.7 talk video in the 5.0. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, click down below with the link that's in this corner. Click right there to subscribe. If you're new to the Mustang community, new to the 3.7 community, go back and watch some of the older videos because I have a lot of tech information, a lot of racing, a lot of useful information for you guys that are maybe getting started in the Mustang community or just bought your first 3.7 liter Mustang. Yeah. That being said, you know we usually start this video by a little short intro and followed by me flooring the 5.0 a couple times. So let's get right to that because it wouldn't be a 3.7 in a 5.0 video if we didn't floor it. Let's floor it. Keep all hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times. If any of you guys are interested in the exact build list I had for my 3.7, for all the videos that you can see on this channel of it, I will link down below all the specific mods that I have that I can find available, at least on the internet. Some of them, you know, stuff like porting with the port intakes, I can't link that because that's not something you buy. It's something you have to pay somebody to do. So I will link down in the description every mod that I could find that I did to my 3.7 if you guys are interested in checking out some of those mods, if you want to buy some of them. If you buy from these links, it will support the channel, so I appreciate that. So it's hard to do a exhaust video for you guys because everybody's got different tastes. Everybody likes different things when it comes to Mustang exhaust. So instead of doing a video, what is the best exhaust sound-wise for your Mustang, because to give you my opinion on that, it's Borla S-types. Borla attacks too, but Borla attacks are a little vicious if you have an off-road setup or long tubes. Attacks are going to be very loud, but they don't drone, so that's why they cost $800. Not everybody can spend $800 on exhaust. Now, exhaust, I mean Axle-Backs. We're not going to talk headers or mid-pipe. We're just going to talk strictly Axle-Backs today. So, if you don't have $800 to spend on mufflers and you can't afford Borla S-types, because if you can, those are the mufflers you want to get. If you can't afford that, I compiled a small list of some other Axle-Backs that I've heard on the 3.7 that I will put in the video also so you can hear them, so that you have other options that are much cheaper that will still sound good. And then I'll give you my opinion on that as far as cost versus value, or how good they are, to help you make a better decision. Instead of just telling you I like this one, I don't like this one, that's not going to do anybody any good. My opinion doesn't matter. What matters is the cost of some of these Axle-Backs and how good they sound, though. So before we get into the actual Axle-Backs themselves, you have to know there's a difference when you're buying Axle-Backs between a straight-through muffler and a chambered muffler. Now, when a 3.7, this is kind of a general rule of thumb overall, but for the 3.7, chambered exhaust is going to give you more of a rumbly and a raspy type note. But a straight-through muffler is going to give you more of a smoother overall sound and maybe a little bit louder. Now, as far as performance, you're not going to see much of a difference anyways, because Axle-Backs only give you maybe 1 to 2 horsepower, maybe 5 at the most if you're lucky, but over stock at least. But between like an aftermarket chambered muffler and an aftermarket straight-through design muffler, now like say the Borla S-type, the Borla series, the Touring, the S-type, and the Attacks are all straight-through mufflers. Now, if you go to something like a Flowmaster Force 2, that's a chambered muffler. So there's different, they're going to sound different. Here's a chambered muffler on my own car. Now here's a straight through muffler on my own car. So you can see the difference. There's a big difference there. So putting that aside, we got that out of the way. Number one Axle-Back for the cost on a 3.7, I would have to say to start with, would be Mack flow paths. I've heard these on a couple different cars. I've heard them on a long tube setup with off-road X-Pipe. And GT resonators on. And here's what they sound like. Not a bad price for a decent muffler. Now, these are chambered mufflers, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe these are chambered mufflers. The second Axleback I would have to pick, cost per value, would be Flowmaster Force 2. They are a little steep in price. I know these ones are a little bit more expensive, but they're still not as expensive as Borla's. So what we're looking at is options besides Borla's that still sound good, given that, you know, Borla is, in my opinion, the best sounding 3.7 Mustang exhaust. So we're looking at cheaper options that still sound really good. I don't want to put like $100 shitty mufflers on here because nobody's, yeah, they're $100, but they sound like shit. So let's keep it real. So Flowmaster Force 2, here's a clip of what those sound like. Okay, now that we have that out of the way, those are my first two picks. A third pick. Now this may be the best sounding option and the cheapest value, which are number 3, Gt500 mufflers. If you could find the quad tip Gt500 mufflers, I am jealous and I envy you because that is awesome. Those are probably the number 1 most swapped Axle-Backs on the 3.7 from what I've seen, because it's the cheapest option. You can get them from Gt500 owners. You can go on forums, you can go on Facebook groups. There's probably some floating around somewhere, but they don't usually last long because even GT guys swap over Gt500 mufflers. So that's my pick for number 3. Fourth pick would be Mbrp series mufflers for the 3.7. Picking these because these are on the cheaper side and they still sound decent. They're not aggressive whatsoever. These mufflers are actually pretty tame and are very close to stock. So if you want something that's not loud, that sounds much better than the tin can mufflers in the stock 3.7, Mbrps are going to be your next way to go. So here's what they sound like. And fifth, probably best value for dollar sound-wise out of the 3.7 would have to be, you guessed it, Roush Axle-Backs. Yes, Roush. Roush Axle-Backs sound very similar to Borla attacks. Very similar. So much so that I've heard dozens of each and have a hard time deciphering the two sometimes, depending on the audio-video quality. But if it's good quality, I can tell attacks from Roush a mile away. But sometimes it does get kind of hard, depending on the the headers or the mid-pipe or resonators. Sometimes it gets hard to tell the difference. What is different is that Roush are going to drone a little bit. Maybe not too bad. I haven't personally had Roush. I've been in cars that have Roush mufflers on them. They don't drone too bad, but they will drone, as opposed to, say, Borla's. Now, that's the most important thing you have to know about Borla's, is that, yes, it's a very expensive muffler, and there's a lot of mufflers that sound similar to it, but they don't drone. Now, drone isn't how loud your exhaust is or how loud it seems. Drone is the resonance within the car that you get. Say you're trying to have a conversation with somebody and you can't hear them, not because of the exhaust noise, but because of the way the exhaust noise or tone resonates throughout the car. That is drone. Now that could be very annoying. On my 3.7, I had long tubes, off-road X-pipe, no resonators. Borla no attacks, and I did not have any drone. You could hear the exhaust out the back of the car. When you open the window, you could hear the exhaust, but inside the car, you heard the exhaust like it was from outside, not like you're sitting above the exhaust. With Roush, you're gonna get a lot more drone. It's gonna be noisier inside the car. Outside should still sound similar. So, those are my picks for Mustang exhaust on the 3.7. If you like this video, click the like button right there. If you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button right there. And leave a comment, let me know what you thought about this video. If you want more videos like this, please let me know. If you guys are having a good day, enjoy the rest of the day and the weekend's coming up, have a good time, please subscribe. Thanks for watching the video. Peace.